This week, while the MotoGP world was focused on Jerez preparations and championship standings, something happened at Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia that put the 2027 regulations story into sharp and painful focus. Aleix Espargaro, the three-time MotoGP race winner who retired at the end of 2024 and joined Honda's test team to develop their future machinery, crashed during testing as part of Honda's intensifying 2027 program. He broke 4 vertebrae. He announced it himself on Instagram from his hospital bed. On Tuesday, during the test here in Sepang, I suffered a heavy accident. As a result, I had multiple bruises and 4 broken vertebrae, although by a very small margin. Unfortunately, they did not affect the spinal cord. 4 broken vertebrae in a test that was supposed to be about the future of the sport is the most dramatic reminder yet that the 2027 regulations, for all the optimism around them, carry real dangers in their development phase. I'm Seb, owner of this channel. MotoGP is my obsession, and every script you hear is written and researched by me. If you feel the same way, hit subscribe and let's enjoy this sport together. Let us go through what the regulations actually contain, how the testing is progressing across all 5 manufacturers, what the Espargaro Crash tells us, and ultimately whether these changes will be good or bad for MotoGP. The headline change is the engine. From 2027, MotoGP will use 850 cubic centimeter 4-cylinder engines, replacing the 1000cc formula in place since 2012. The maximum bore drops from 81mm to 75. The primary motivation is speed reduction. Espargaro himself said it clearly when the regulations were announced. We are racing in the same circuits that Duhan and Crivel were racing with the 500cc. And the Moto 3S are doing 500cc lap times. The current machines are approaching the limits of what tracks can safely accommodate. An estimated 35 horsepower reduction is the primary mechanism for addressing that. Alongside it, all bikes from 2027 run on 100% sustainable fuel, with tank capacity dropping from 22 litres to 20 for Grand Prix races. These changes will require significant engine mapping and combustion development from every manufacturer. The aerodynamic changes are arguably as significant as the engine reduction. The front fairing maximum width drops from 600 to 550 mm. The rear end maximum height drops by 100 mm, and rear aerodynamic elements, including seat, wings, and tail configurations, are included in the homologation process for the first time. Teams will only be permitted 1 aero update per season, bringing an end to the constant mid-season aerodynamic development that has favored manufacturers with the largest budgets, and potentially reducing the turbulence that makes overtaking harder than it used to be. The change that has received the most unambiguous positive reaction from riders is the complete ban on all ride height and whole shot devices from 2027. No exceptions. These systems have made race starts more consistent, but also more uniform and more dependent on technology than rider skill. From 2027, every launch depends entirely on clutch control, throttle management, and reactions. Maverick Vinales said it will help the riders that have more technique. The tire change is the wildcard. Pirelli replaces Michelin as exclusive tire supplier from 2027. This is a fundamental shift in the physical relationship between every motorcycle and the surface it races on. Aleix Espargaro said publicly the tire supplier change would have a bigger impact on the competitive order than even the engine switch. Gigi Dall'Igna from Ducati agreed. To win in 2027, you have to understand what that tire needs in order to go fast. He was also blunt about the political context. Sometimes rule changes are made not because it's better for the championship, but because the other competitors want to go in this direction, because they think it will reduce the gap between them and somebody else. That is one of the most candid things a manufacturer's technical director has said about a rulemaking process in recent memory. The ban on testing 2027 machinery was lifted on the 17th of December. KTM moved first, with Pole Espargaro completing the first laps of an 850cc prototype at Jerez. Honda was second, with Takaaki Nakagami debuting the new machine at Sepang in December, reporting his first impression as super light. That test was disrupted by rain. Honda returned in January, And then again this week, this time with both Nakagami and Aleix Espargaro present simultaneously for the first time, suggesting a significant acceleration of the program. Espargaro had originally planned to stay focused on the 2026 machine until summer, but Honda brought him ahead of schedule. That urgency is understandable. The first official test with the full rider lineup on Pirelli tires and 2027 machines is scheduled for the 22nd of June at Brno. Every day of data before that matters. Aprilia CEO Massimo Rivola confirmed their 850cc engine is already running. The engine is ready. The engine is running. All 5 manufacturers are running 2 parallel development operations simultaneously, pouring resources into the final year of the 1000cc formula, while beginning the early testing of machines that will be completely different in architecture, power, tire, relationship, and aerodynamics. The concession system resets entirely for 2027. Every manufacturer that races in 2026 begins 2027 as Rank B. Honda, which has spent recent years accumulating maximum concessions to fund its recovery, loses all those advantages at the reset. Yamaha, suffering through one of the most difficult seasons in its recent history, also restarts on equal terms with Ducati. In theory, 2027 could be the most competitive year in modern MotoGP history from round 1, with 5 manufacturers on equal concessions, unfamiliar machines, and limited tire experience across the board. And then there is Espargaro's crash. 4 broken vertebrae while testing a machine supposed to represent a safer, slower version of MotoGP. This is not evidence the regulations are inherently dangerous. Test crashes happen and always will. But it is a reminder that the development of new machines carries inherent risks, that riders right now are doing exploratory work on unknown machinery with limited data, and that the human cost of motorsport development is never zero, regardless of how well-intentioned the regulations are. The honest assessment is that the intentions behind the 2027 changes are correct and most specific changes are individually well-reasoned. Whether the execution of all these changes simultaneously produces the MotoGP the regulators envision, or whether the combination of unknowns creates a confusing first season, will only become clear at Brno in June, when the prototypes line up together for the first time. What is certain is that the testing is accelerating, the manufacturers are fully committed, and the people responsible for developing these machines are doing so with real physical consequences. As Aleix Espargaro's hospital bed this week confirms, will the 2027 changes produce the spectacular, safe, and competitive racing that MotoGP's new owners at Liberty Media are hoping for, or does history suggest that major regulation changes always produce at least one difficult year before things settle? Is combining smaller engines, less aerodynamics, new tires, and no whole-shot devices too many simultaneous changes, or does the comprehensive reset give every manufacturer a genuinely equal opportunity? And with Espargaro now recovering from 4 broken vertebrae in a test meant to represent the future of the sport, what does that tell us about the hidden costs of developing motorcycle racing's next generation? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more MotoGP news. I'll catch you in the next one.